Hi Scorpio risings, my name is Mercedes. I myself am a Scorpio ascendant with Pluto in the first house and Scorpio stellium. So I want to talk about your strengths and your weaknesses. And when I talk about your strengths and weaknesses, I'm also talking about myself, as I can relate to everything that I'm going to mention. So I'm going to start off with the weaknesses and end on a sweet note with your strengths. Scorpio rising, I know you're going to be aware of this one. One of your weaknesses is you can find it very difficult to release people from your life. It doesn't mean that you don't, because you do reach a point where you know you have to and you do it. But sometimes you will hold on to people way past the expiration date. You know that the expiration date was months ago, years ago, and you'll hold on. The connection or the relationship can be toxic. You may have been betrayed. You may have been mistreated, or you and the other person were just unhealthy for each other. And you'll find that you still have a difficult time letting go and releasing that person. And part of the reason is having Pisces in the 5th house. This placement can be wonderful. Pisces in the 5th house can also be very challenging when it comes to romantic connections. Why is that? Scorpio rising, you have a God-given gift of not only seeking the truth, but being able to see the truth. You are able to see people's motives, their intentions. You can see a person for who they truly are. And it doesn't take much time for you to realize this about a person. What happens is when it comes to your romantic connections, all of that discernment goes out the window. Because Pisces in the 5th house, although it can make you very creative, romantic, being able to express yourself romantically is so natural and so wonderful with this placement. On the other side, Pisces represents illusions, not being able to see clearly or to see things for what they truly are. So when it comes to your romantic partner, you may see them through rose-colored glasses. And what happens is you will actually project your wonderful and good qualities onto the other person. So you think that you're falling in love with this person. You put this person up on a pedestal and you're seeing them for a lot of the time better than what they truly are or what they're giving you, because you have projected your greatness onto the other person. That is what happens with Pisces in the 5th house. Let me know if you found yourself doing this, Scorpio rising. I know I definitely have. Another reason why it can be very challenging for a Scorpio rising to release someone that they care about is because we are very protective. Even when we are done wrong, even if we've been betrayed sometimes, or if the relationship is just toxic, we will still be protective over that person. And I know for myself, the connections that I found were very difficult for me to release, it was because I worried that if I released this person and something bad happened to them, that I wouldn't be there to catch them, that I wouldn't be there to make sure they're okay and to comfort them. I worried about their well-being without me, which is wrong, because at the end of the day, they don't need me and I don't need them. And I'm sure they would be fine. But it is that protective feeling that we'll have over someone, that protectiveness, right? That can be difficult for us to release people. And this also applies for cutting off even toxic family members, because you may feel protective over them. You may care about their well-being. And so you may hold on to the connection way, way, way too long, past its expiration date, right? Another one of your weaknesses, Scorpio risings, is oftentimes when you are interacting with a person or you're getting to know a person, you will shrink yourself. You will make yourself smaller to be more digestible for that other person or for those people. I know it sounds weird when I describe it that way, being more digestible, but I don't know how else to word that. You will dim your light. You will really make yourself smaller than what you really are, so that you don't make other people feel uncomfortable, so that that person or those people don't feel challenged by you, although that is not your intention, so that they don't start trying to compete with you. Personally, I'm not about competing or comparing. You know, I've mentioned this many times before. And don't mind the background noise, I'm at a park. So you will minimize yourself sometimes. You won't show how intelligent, how aware you truly are, Scorpio rising. And people can take that as you are slow, as if you're dumb, or you're not as intelligent as you really are, because we don't reveal that right away sometimes. You know, Scorpio in the ascendant can come off more reserved, more quiet and gentle, more observant, right? Scorpio rising in the ascendant can be more of the listener and less of the talker, unless the Scorpio is very comfortable with you, then they will talk your ear off. Otherwise, you know, we're just more reserved. So people can interpret that as we don't know as much as we actually do. We don't understand as much as we actually do. And this can actually, I know for myself, it can really make me angry when people underestimate my intelligence, or they talk down to me like I'm at a preschool level or something. Another way we shrink ourselves is by avoiding eye contact, or not maintaining the eye contact for too long. Again, because we don't want to make that person feel uncomfortable, or we don't want to make them feel like we're trying to assert a dominance over them, or like we're challenging them. Scorpio risings, you have a very powerful and intense gaze. And you may not realize that, you know, for yourself. Even when you stare at yourself in the mirror, you're looking at yourself, so it's different. But when you're looking at someone else, your gaze is very intense, and it can intimidate people. And you can be the most gentle, softest, sweetest person, and your gaze can still intimidate someone, because you can see through them into who they are, right? And people feel that. It's very much felt by the other person. And so I think on a subconscious level, we are aware of our intensity, we are aware of our power, being ruled by both Mars and Pluto. And especially if you have Pluto in the first house, that's going to intensify. You know, that eye contact is going to be something that you will find you avoid or you don't hold for too long. But that is one way that you shrink yourself, Scorpio rising, because you don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. Another way that you may shrink yourself, Scorpio rising, is by saying yes when you mean no. And this goes with the people-pleasing, right, tendencies that we can have. This, I feel, comes from the 4th house and the 12th house. So we have Aquarius in the 4th house. Having this placement, you know, it represents your early childhood upbringing, the dynamic that you had with your parents growing up. And so for a lot of us Scorpio risings, we may have grown up in a home where our guardians, our parents, were more detached. It was more of like a military style upbringing, where you were told to do something and you had to do it and you couldn't question it, right? And so when you grow up this way, naturally you will have people-pleasing tendencies. And although Scorpio rising likes to keep it real, we don't like to be fake, we will tell it like it is when we have to. Having Libra in the 12th house, you know, Libra does not like confrontation. Libra wants to be liked, right? Libra doesn't want to create chaos in the 12th house. So, you know, with these two placements, and you know, and there's other traumas and things that can trigger all of these people-pleasing tendencies. But when I'm speaking on why Scorpio risings have this problem, I feel like those two placements play a big role in that. And that is one way that you will shrink yourself, Scorpio rising, is when, you know, sometimes we will be passengers in someone else's ride, in someone else's roller coaster. And we will put our own needs last and put others first and neglect different areas of our life and ourselves. And then later we may end up resenting that person, but we fell into that trap, right, of people pleasing. This is something that I have worked through. I'm still working through it. I still fall into it sometimes. But I have noticed that being a common theme for Scorpio risings. One of our weaknesses, Scorpio risings, is our difficulty in receiving from other people without feeling indebted to that person. Tell me if you can relate. But I have noticed for myself and other Scorpio risings, when it comes to giving, that can come very easily and naturally, you know, especially when you love that person. But when it comes to receiving, we do have a hard time in not questioning the motive behind that gift, behind that act of kindness, behind that compliment even. You may, in the back of your mind, you may be questioning, are they doing this for me so that I can do something for them in the future? Are they expecting me to do the same thing for them? Are they doing it to have some sort of control over me? Are they doing it to have me submit to them in some way, or for them to have dominance over me in some way? It's hard to accept sometimes without feeling indebted to that person. And again, I think that it is tied to Aquarius being in the 4th house, where growing up, love could have been very transactional, love could have been very conditional between, you know, us and the people who took care of us. Now moving on to your strengths, Scorpio rising. Where do I start? Scorpio rising, you have a natural magnetism. You are co-ruled by Pluto. And if you have Pluto in the 1st house, it is going to be magnified. Your magnetism makes you a natural manifester, Scorpio rising. You have a natural allure to you, an air of mystery. That's what happens when you're ruled by Pluto, which, you know, Pluto is the underworld. Pluto is secrets, hidden things, the deep things. It's, if you know anything about tarot, it's like the Tower card in the tarot. It's about taking down and rebuilding, and this makes you very magnetic. Now, you have incredible focus, Scorpio rising, or just Scorpios in general, because of our obsessive nature. Obsession is not always a bad thing. We can use obsession to our advantage when we focus on what we truly desire and what we have our eye on. What happens with Scorpio risings at times is you will use your obsessive nature towards the wrong people, the wrong things, rather than using it to your advantage. Because your focus, your intense focus on things can really, truly make you some of the best manifestors, Scorpio risings. The trouble here, like I said, is misplacing that obsession onto the wrong things. You also, and I know you know this one, because this is the common theme of the Scorpio rising life, is having to rebuild yourself, rebuild your life many times over and over. Like a snake sheds its skin, you also shed yourself. Use old ways, old belief systems, people, ideas, pain. You will shed it like a snake sheds its skin many times. And each time you shed that skin, it makes you stronger. You are so strong, Scorpio rising. You know, when you think about your journey, your own personal journey, everything that you've had to endure, every time you've had to rebuild yourself, do you ever think, had it been someone else in my place, would they be able to handle it in the way that I did? Maybe not. Maybe not. Another one of your wonderful strengths, Scorpio risings, is that you are a truth seeker and a truth seer. It's one of your psychic abilities. You are able to really see a person, to see a situation for what it truly is. And you don't like fakeness. You don't like when people are fake or being in a fake environment. If you work, like for example, you work for a company and you meet the CEO of that company or the president of that company, and they are a complete jerk. They're not a good person. They don't have good character, and you know this. You're not going to kiss their ass. You're not going to suck up to them and extend this like fake respect to that person simply because of their title or their wealth or their position. Scorpio rising, one of your strengths is that you treat people according to their character. It doesn't matter, like I said, how wealthy they are, their status. If it's a homeless person, you will respect according to someone's character. You really appreciate that realness, right? You don't want to be fake for status or for to be able to move up, right? I think that this is another reason why Scorpio risings tend to not have many friends and really not be involved in big like friend groups and that type of thing. We would rather be alone. We would rather have maybe one good friend or two than have to be fake and have to interact with people who we know are not keeping it real and are just maybe living more of a pretentious lifestyle. It doesn't, as Scorpios, we do enjoy the nicer things in life, of course, but we choose character over everything else most of the time, at least for the evolved Scorpio risings, right? Another one of your strengths, and I think this is your most powerful strength, Scorpio rising, is your psychic abilities along with your sensitivity, because I feel like they absolutely go together. Your psychic abilities are unmatched. Everyone is intuitive. Everyone has their own psychic abilities, right? And we can always improve them. But I've noticed that Scorpio risings have claircognizance and clairsentience. Claircognizance is the clear knowing of something. Where, for example, you meet someone and you instantly pick up on the vibe. You may not even have had one conversation with that person and you can already sense who they are. You can already sense their intentions, their motives. Sometimes you can meet a person and you know what has happened to them. Maybe you can look at a person and you know what happened to them when they were children. And there's no evidence or, no information that would lead you to think that, but you just know. Sometimes this can show up in your dreams. I have this. I've always had this since I was a toddler. I had premonitions in my dreams. I have revelations in my dreams when someone is doing something behind my back, they're withholding something from me. I will dream about it. So now I have learned to really trust my intuition and trust my dreams because they are very revealing for me. So you guys let me know if you also have this psychic ability of dreams. With the clairsentience, we can also, it is very similar to the claircognizance. We can feel when someone is lying to us. We can feel when something bad is going to happen. Because of this, I have found we will find ourselves in situations, Scorpio risings, whether it's a relationship or a job or whatever, a living situation, you will start to feel the ending of that thing. Like, for example, you're at a job And you'll start to feel like something's not right. Like you start wondering, I feel like I should start looking for other options. I feel like I need to start preparing myself. You'll just intuitively feel that something is coming. And and this is a gift for us, because we can, as Scorpio risings, we can mentally prepare ourselves for the worst before it happens. This happens in relationships when we can sense that a relationship is going downhill and it's going to have to end soon. We will start grieving the end of the relationship before it's ended. So by the time it's ended, we had already started the grieving process, maybe even a couple months before it ended. We can sense what's coming. We can sense the endings that are coming in. And this is such a gift, because we can prepare and we could start our grieving process sooner and try to heal sooner. Along with the psychic abilities. A lot of Scorpio risings, we will have premonitions. You know, I mentioned this, we can have it in our dreams, visions, but we will get premonitions. Like you may even be having a conversation with someone about, you know, something political or something that's happening in the world, and you'll find yourself talking and saying, well, you know what, I think that this is what's going to happen, and I think that this is the way that it's going to turn out. And it ends up happening just the way that you said it. Because it's your intuition. It's that inner knowing, sensing what's going to happen. I keep having to pause the video because I'm at a park and there's dogs barking and kids screaming, so let's continue. The times in my life where I have found that, you know, I was in situations that were more painful and more difficult than they needed to be, is because I had ignored my intuition. And if I had listened to my intuition when the universe was giving me all of these signs, all of these dreams, I could have avoided so much pain. I could have even probably avoided the situation had I trusted myself, had I trusted my psychic abilities. Our sensitivity, which goes along with our psychic abilities, is our superpower. It is our strength. You know, we live in a world that tells us from the time that we are children that we shouldn't be as sensitive, that we're too sensitive, that we need to toughen up. And it is so weird to me, because it is our sensitivity that makes us empathetic, that makes us compassionate. It is our sensitivity that we are able to extend a helping hand to other people, that we're able to feel what we feel, good and bad, right? Scorpio rising, don't ever let anyone tell you that you're too sensitive. Your sensitivity is your power. And what lies underneath the Scorpio, that hard exterior, that sometimes unbothered front that we have, right? That our quiet demeanor, our reserved way about us. You know, it can be hard for people to really see what is on the inside, but what lies deep within the Scorpio is a being that is very sensitive. It is very sensitive to the people around us, to what's happening in the world. I truly do believe that it is our sensitivity that makes us so loving, devoted, courageous, loyal. It is our sensitivity that can actually even make us very fearless as Scorpio risings. But that is what I have for today. I know there are many other things, weaknesses and strengths that I didn't have time to mention in this. So please let me know in the comments anything that I missed that you believe are a strength or a weakness that we have as Scorpios, Scorpio risings. And I will see you next time.